الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. من يهدي الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear sisters, my dear daughters, welcome back to a new episode of Asma'ullah al-Husna, beautiful names of Allah. Today, inshallah, we have a very special name. And as we took before in name of Allah, Al-Qadir, Al-Muqtadir, Al-Qadir. Today we have another one name with three meanings, as we mentioned before. And before we start in the name, we'll start with the Prophet Hadith, alayhi salatu wassalam. He mentioned, verily Allah has 99 names, 100 but one. Whosoever knows each and every one of them, believe in them and works according to them, enters the paradise. So today, inshallah, the name is, we have the name of Allah, the three names of one attribute with different levels of this attitude is Al-Ali, Al-A'la, Al-Muta'ali. Al-Ali, Al-A'la, Al-Muta'ali, the most high. Al-Ali, the most high. Al-A'la, the higher. Al-Muta'ali, the exalted. We'll come to the meanings of each one of them. And as a beginning, we have to go to the root. The root word is Al-Ulu. Al-Ulu or Ulu. Ulu in Arabic, in English means elevation or height. Ulu is elevation or height. So when we're going to know the meanings of Allah, names of Allah, Al-Ali, the first one, the most high. Who is Al-Ali? Al-Ali, he is the one who has absolute highness in every sense above all else. Highness with regard to his being, his majestic position, attributes, and absolute dominance. So the absolute highness for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in himself, in his being. And this is important to know this meaning, that Al-Ali, concerning the highness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his regarding to his being, his majestic position, his attributes, his in every sense above all else, highness in his being. Al-A'la, or the higher. Higher or Al-A'la. Usually Al-A'la is higher in English, higher than. Higher than what? He is the higher above his creation. And everything, everyone is under his absolute control and superior authority. So Al-A'la is higher than any one of his creation. Like when we say Allahu Akbar, Allah is greater. What's greater? When we start the salah or the prayer, we mention Allahu Akbar. So Akbar means that he's greater than anything in my life, because now I'm going to the prayer to Allah. So Allahu A'la, Al-A'la means he is higher than everything in this universe, or in all his creation, above all his creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Al-Ali, the highness in his being, in himself, he's high in his attributes, in his dominance. Al-A'la is the higher than any of his creation. Al-Muta'ali, the exalted. Al-Muta'ali means he is high above partners, supporters, intermediates, high above the defects or imperfection. This is the meaning of al-muta'ali. Al-muta'ali, that is higher above any defects or anything that it's not perfect. He is perfect, the perfect highness in Allah, the exalted. So this is a very important difference between the three names. Al-Ali means absolute highness in himself and in his attributes. Al-A'la is higher than any of his creation. Al-Muta'ali, he is high above any partners, supporters, or defects or imperfection. I want to tell you that these meanings came from the Quran itself. When you are searching in the ayat of the Quran, subhanallah, you will find the definitions coming to you when we study the verse of Quran, including these names, these three names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll take first name of Allah, Al-Ali, the Most High. And we're going to search in the ayat, in the verse of the Quran, came with the name of Allah, Al-Ali. We'll find in Surah Al-Baqarah, in ayah 255. And actually, this is the greatest ayah in the Quran, is the verse of the Kursi or Ayat al-Kursi. And this, it's very famous, and we know the virtue of Ayat al-Kursi, I'm sure of that. But now let us focus on what came in this ayah of the name of Allah, the Most High. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm not taking the ayah from the start, I will start with Al-Kursi. وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضِ وَلَا يَؤُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ. So his kursi extends over the heaven and the earth, and he feels no fatigue in guarding and preserving them. And he is the most high, the most great. We are here trying to understand why the name of Allah came here, the Most High, Al-Ali. Allah is mentioning about his kursi. The kursi is the support of the throne. The throne is the arsh in Arabic. The support of the throne is the kursi. Or in some sayings of the scholars, it is the place of the foot, of the feet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the kursi. The kursi extends over the heavens and the earth, and he feels no fatigue. Allah feels no fatigue in guarding and preserving them. Who is them? The heavens, the earth, and the kursi. To be more clear, for us, the image to be more clear, I just brought this hadith, Sahih, by the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, when he mentioned to Abi Dharr al-Ghafari, he is one of the companion, and he told him, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما السماوات السبع في الكرسي إلا كحلقة ملقاة بأرض فلا وفضل العرش على الكرسي كفضل تلك الفلاة على تلك الحلقة. What does it mean in English? It means that the seven heavens, the relation between the seven heavens to the kursi, the support of the throne, is just like a ring. It's just like a ring like this, a ring in a wide land, very wide land, and this ring is just thrown in this wide land. So this is the relation of the size of the seven heavens to the kursi, to the support of the throne. And the kursi itself, the support of the throne, its relation to the arsh or to the throne is like another ring like this. So you can, of course, ring like this in a very wide land. So when you can imagine that the seven heavens, we mentioned before, the seven heavens, they are seven, and the distance between every one of them is around 500 years walking. If you try to walk, you will walk for 5 مسيرة 500 عام. مسيرة 500 عام means that walking for 500 years. It is the distance between every heaven from the first to the second up till to the seventh. And then you can imagine all these heavens related to the Kursay or the support of the throne is like this ring in the wide land. And the relation to of this support, the Kursay, to the throne, the Al-Arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is like another ring, that the Kursay is a ring in another wide land related to the throne. And then there is a water, and then the water over it, the Kursay, the arch is over the water, and then the place of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you can imagine how high Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how the level of highness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so high. That's why we can imagine now why the name of Allah, the Most High, came in this ayah, in Surah Al-Kursay, because actually the throne of Allah is very beyond, very far high, or away from the heavens and away from the support of the throne. And that's why it came the name of Allah, the Most High, in this ayah. That's why we all the time we are mentioning that the Sunnah and the authenticated Hadith is very important with the Quran to explain for us some of the things that came as a one thing without much details. We can know the more details from the authenticated Sunnah. Now we'll take another ayah concerning the name of Allah, the Most High. In Surah Al-Hajj, ayah 62. That's because Allah is the truth, and that which they call upon other than Him is falsehood. And because Allah is the Most High, the Grand. So here, another meaning of the highness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the highness, because He is the truth. We mentioned before the name of Allah, the truth, Al-Haq, and we mentioned about it and how that Al-Haq, when it came, it will be very brilliant and apparent and clear. And here we can add to it a high, the highness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the truth, He is the truth. So from His name, the truth and the Most High. And we can know that from this meaning that the truth is always high. When you have the truth, you will have the upper hand. When you have the truth, you will be in a stronger position. When you're telling the truth, you will be more powerful than telling lies and try to deceive others. So Allah is here bringing His name, the Most High, with the meaning of the truth. How the truth makes Allah higher and higher in His attributes, because He is the truth. And we mentioned before that names of Allah are all related together. We cannot separate them. We are just focusing in every lesson we are taking, focusing on one or two names, but we cannot separate the names from each other. They are all related to each other. They are all the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot separate. So that's why when we are talking about the truth, yes, Allah the truth and Allah the Most High, because He is the truth. Now we'll come to Surah Ash-Shura, Surah Al-Ghafir first in ayah 12. That's because when Allah was called upon alone, you disbelieved. But if others were associated with Him, you believed. So the judgment is with Allah, the Most High, the Grand. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the disbelievers. When the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam was trying to speak about the monotheism and to worship only Allah, they don't want to hear, and they ran away from Him. But when the other talks about the idols and about the partners, they want to hear that things between themselves. So Allah will be the judge. So the judge between them. That's why here we have the meaning of the judgment. of the highness. How Allah, we took before the name of Allah, the most just, Al-Adl, and Al-Hakam, the judge, that Allah is judging between the people, and the justice giver. So this give him highness of Allah, the most high that is judging between people. This is another meaning, that the most high is having to judge between his servants during the day of resurrection. So this is another reflection of the name of Allah, the most high. And in Surah Ash-Shura, ayah number 4, to him belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth, and he is the most high, the most great. Again, here we come to the heavens and also to the earth, and how they are very wide and they are very vast to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is higher in more than the heaven, and as we mentioned just a few seconds away, that he is more higher than the heavens and the support of the throne and the throne. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is higher in all that. But what we can see in this ayat regarding the name of Allah the Most High, that the ayat is giving us an image of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the Most High in his being, in his attribute, either with the truth or with the judge or with the highness, absolute highness. So all these coming to his being and his attributes. Now we'll come to the name of Allah, Al-A'la, and we mentioned Al-A'la is the higher. And when we see name of Allah, the higher, usually a question is coming immediately to us: higher than what? Higher than what? This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to think about. His name, Al-A'la, is the higher. His name, or Al-A'la, is the higher, will come, subhanallah, will come to us in the Quran in two ayahs related only, two verses in Quran, related to the prayer and to the zakah, the salah and the zakah. The salah and the zakah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-A'la, all of us know Surah Al-A'la. Sabbih isma rabbika al-a'la. Glorify the name of your Lord the higher. When we are saying Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, during sujood, right? During sujood, during our prayers, what we are saying, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. So I am pronouncing the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-A'la every day in my 5 prayers, and according to the rak'ahs, how many rak'ahs I am doing. So this is the salah. So what does it mean? That when I go to my salah or to my prayer, Allah should be higher than anything in my life. I must focus on my prayer, that I am doing this prayer for Allah. I will just push out any other thoughts that come to me during the prayer. This is for the first thing, the al-salah. The second, in zakah, in Surah Al-Layl, ayah number 20, Allah is mentioning the one who gives his wealth, seeking to be purified, without, this is ayah 18, without anyone who has done a favor to him, for which recompense is expected. Ayah 19. But he gives only seeking to see the face of his Lord. ابتغاء وجه ربه الأعلى ولسوف يرضى. Here, Allah is mentioning about the one who gives charity, who gives zakat, who gives sadaqah, and he does that for the sake of Allah, only. Al-A'la, ابتغاء وجه ربه الأعلى. We hear al-higher. Why it come higher here? Higher than his selfishness, higher than his greediness, higher than his nafs and soul, that all the time tell him, don't spend much, keep your money, keep your things, you have children, You have spendings. Don't give charity too much. Don't give the zakah. Just keep it for a'la, higher, higher than all these desires, higher than all these thoughts. That's why it came here al-a'la in the zakah, in the charity, that the people who are giving the charity, whether it is zakat or sadaqat, that means that they have Allah higher in their hearts than the money, than the wealth, than any other thing that prevent them from doing the good deeds for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the two sides in the Quran where the name of Allah Al-A'la, and we mention now why Al-A'la is coming to these points. Now we'll come to name of Allah Al-Muta'ali. Al-Muta'ali came as the name by itself in one ayah, which is Surah Ar-Ra'd, ayah number 9. When Allah is mentioning here, Allah knows what every female carries and what the wombs lose prematurely or exceed, and everything with him is by due measure. He is knower of the unseen, and the witnessed, the grand, the exalted. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning about himself al-muta'ali. We mentioned that al-muta'ali as a meaning is the higher than any imperfection, the higher on any defects, right? This was the meaning we mentioned at the beginning. So here when we are talking about a very sophisticated process happening during the pregnancy, how pregnancy occur, how the fertilized ovum, which is a very minute thing, start to enlarge and start to be a clot, and from clot it will be sticky materials attached to the womb, and then start to at 120 days start to have the heartbeat, and the ruh, the angels came to blow to the ruh in this embryo to have the decree of Allah on him, either it is a female or male, he is from the good persons or the bad person, how his life will be, his age, his provision, everything about this embryo in 120 days will happen. And at the same time, some females or some women, they will not continue their pregnancy and they have abortion, and or others will even have more than the expected dates or exceed. So Allah knows all that. Allah knows all that with very perfect knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The perfection here, the perfection, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is higher than any defects that happen. Even if there is a portion, or this is of the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that decree on this woman at that time, at that hour, she will have a portion, will not continue, or she will deliver prematurely, or she will exceed her time. All these complicated things are being accurately measured and known by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and away from any imperfection, away from any something happen haphazardly or by random or by randomized. Everything is calculated accurately by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the name of Allah, the exalted, al-muta'ali, al-muta'ali on any imperfection or any defects that may happen. So here this ayah is only came by literally by the name of Allah al-muta'ali, but we'll have another ayahs coming with ta'ala Allahu, ta'ala, the verb itself, ta'ala Allahu amma yushrikun. When we are searching about the verb ta'ala, which means that Allah is the higher, or Allah to be higher, but it is in the verb and not in the name, we'll find most of it go to the partners, go to the associates, go to the, as we're going to see now. This is what we mentioned in the definition of al-muta'ali, that Allah al-muta'ali is higher than any partners or associates. Here, for example, in Surah Al-An'am, ayah number 100, yet they join the jinn as partners in worship with Allah, though He has created them, the jinn, and they attribute falsely without knowledge sons and daughters to him. Be he glorified and exalted, subhanahu wa ta'ala, above all that they attribute to him. So here, ta'ala means that he is higher, exalted is he on the false attributes that they are trying to say about Allah, that he has daughters, that he has sons, so partners. This is number one. This is a meaning of al-muta'ali, that he's away, that he's higher than any attribute try to describe him as he has sons or daughters. In Surah An-Nahl, ayah number 3, he has created the heavens and the earth with truth. Be he exalted above all they associate as partners with him. Again, here, ta'ala amma yushrikun, which means higher, he is high above all associate partners. In Surah Al-Isra, ayah number 43, highly exalted is he, the most high, far above what they say. Again, it is the exalted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, far above what they say about him, that he has partners or he has associates or whatever. So these are the main three meanings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Al-Ali, Al-A'la, Al-Muta'ali. We'll take another ayah in Surah Al-Mu'minun for name of Allah Al-Muta'ali, 92, ayah 92, all knower of the unseen and the seen, exalted be he over all they associate as partners. See, all the ayat coming with ta'ala, usually amma yushrikun. Subhanahu wa ta'ala amma yushrikun. Ta'ala amma yushrikun. Yushrikun is to associate partners. That's why when we are saying that Al-Muta'ali is higher than any partners or associate, is coming from the ayat of Quran. And when we say it is away or it is higher of any imperfection, come from the ayah of the Quran about the Allah ya'lam ma tahmil kullu unsa. This is in Surah Al-Ra'd, the ayah we mentioned in Surah Al-Ra'd. He knows what every female having in her womb. So this is what we are seeing, subhanallah, the different meanings according to the different forms of the name of Allah. And all of them are coming to the meaning of the highness, how Allah is highness. So now we'll come to the benefits, how to live with the name of Allah, names of Allah, Al-Ali, Al-A'la, Al-Muta'ali. Call Allah by his names. Actually, I want to tell you that we already are calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by his name Al-A'la in every prayer, as we are mentioned. In every prayer, we are mentioned Subhan Rabbi Al-A'la, Subhan Rabbi Al-A'la, Subhan Rabbi Al-A'la. So we are calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by his name Al-A'la. The name of Allah Al-Ali, for to be grateful to Al-Ali that he created us and provide us, and Al-Muta'ali, to believe in Al-Ali and his highness in himself attributes. This is very important. And this is again wrapping up the meaning. I just want you to know quietly the difference between the three. This is most important. So Al-Ali is to believe in his highness in himself and his attributes. Al-A'la, he is higher than anything else in our life, and that might divert our attention away from him. And this is what we mentioned during Salah. During Salah, when we start the Salah and we mention Subhan Rabbi Al-A'la during prostration, don't let shaitan bring the thoughts and the ideas to your mind during Salah. Everything will come to you. What you're going to clean, what you're going to cook, what you're going to do, the children, the husband, the relatives, all the ideas is coming to you. You should just cut it down by saying, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. A'udhu billah. Even you cut your recitation of Quran and say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, and then continue back. Every time you feel yourself will go to another direction, divert your attention from your salah, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep you safe and keep the shaitan away from your salah. The name of Allah Al-Muta'ali, to believe that He is absolute perfection in highness and all sufficient, not in need of partners or helpers. As we mentioned, He's not in need of any partners or helpers. To be more humble to Allah. This is one of the reflection of the names of Allah, Al-Ali, Al-A'la, Al-Muta'ali. When I realize these names for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then I look to myself, what I will feel. To be more humble to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To feel that, to be modest more to the people. And to feel with your reality and our inferiority instead of arrogance and pride. Usually when you see an arrogant person, you know that he's away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's not knowing Allah. If he truly knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by his names and attributes, will never be arrogant. So this is one of the most important lessons we are studying from the names of Allah, Al-Ali, Al-A'la, Al-Muta'ala, how to be not arrogant or pride, and to be modest to all people, and to feel the reality of our weakness, and that anything, any bounty we have, any skills, anything that the people think that we are, oh, she is the best teacher, she is the best doctor, she is the best engineer. She's not the best engineer or best doctor or best teacher. This is the bounty of Allah. Bounty of Allah. If we feel that every good thing we have in our life is just a favor from Allah, Al-Ali, we'll know the reality of ourselves. We know that we don't have knowledge except from the all-knowing. We'll not have the experience except from the all-expert. We will not have the iman except from the al-mu'min. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us from his bounty, from his favor. And if we know that, we'll be more and more humble to him and ask for his guidance. Another important point, reflection of the name of Allah, Al-A'la, Al-Ali, Al-Muta'ali. You have, or all of us, we spent our life in the most high issues and targets. Life is precious, my sisters and my daughters. Life is very precious, and we are accountable for every second passing by us. So if we'll not spend every second and every minute for higher issues and for well-respected targets for the sake of Allah and His Messenger, we will spend our life in vain. We will lose what we have, what the precious thing we have. By end of our life, we'll find ourselves, we don't have much achievement. And by the way, when I'm saying that, I'm not saying that you don't have a time for entertainment. No, you have to have your sports time, your entertainment time. But as we mentioned before, especially to my daughters, my advice to my daughters, you have to have your time management table for your day. You can't spend the whole day playing. You can't spend the whole day in entertainment or watching TV programs or whatever. You have to divide accurately your time, because time is precious. Time is our life. Time is our years. And our years in this life, we are accountable for every year, for every minute, as we mentioned. So try to focus on the high issues. And also what I'm concerning about the high issues, that even if it is sciences or projects not related, of course, the most blessed science is the Quran and the Sunnah. If we have just a basic knowledge about the Quran and the Sunnah, this is very important, and it must be an obligatory for every Muslim, especially we in these Western countries. For since we don't have enough schools for our children or for ourselves even to go and to know our religion, it is obligatory on us to search and to know and to educate ourselves. If we don't, but of course now you have a lot of things on the YouTubes and on the internet, but at least you have to know the basics of your religion and the basics of the Quran meanings and what came in the Sunnah and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us, what's halal, what's haram. We are obliged, all of us, to do that and to teach that to our children. My sisters, this is our responsibility. Don't waste our time in hesitation with narrow-minded people that may direct you to doing bad deeds. The bad deeds could be very simple, but it's very fatal, like the backbiting, al-ghaiba, wal-namima. This is very easy now that the people is talking about each other in a very bad way, and take it easy. It's not easy at all. It's like eating the flesh of your sister when she died, or as she died and you are eating her flesh. It's a very disgusting image that the Prophet ﷺ and even the Quran are mentioning those who are making backbiting and other things, who are lying, who are witnessing with lies. All these things, all these bad deeds, it sometimes became easy now for people to do, but it's not easy in Allah. It's not easy for His Messenger and for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is very important, to not let these people to drag you to the bad direction. Your most high goals to be for the sake of Allah. And this means that even you are working, during your work, whatever you are working is, if you have the intention that every second in this work you are doing it for the sake of Allah and for the sake that you have a halal income at the end of the month to feed yourself and to feed your children, it is something for the sake of Allah. And you will have the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on what you are doing. At the end, I would like to all of us to take this home message with you before we go. Glorify the name of your exalted Lord. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى المتعالي. To guide you to the most high deeds that make you near Him in Jannah. Dua. Keep calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what the most high deeds He can guide you. If you don't know what is, or trying to search, or trying to know, make dua for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah will guide you to the high deeds that will make you near to Him in Jannah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. سبحانك الله وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.